him and himself and everybody around, cause he ain't got nobody till this ends. I'm moved, I've been need, I've been died, I've been need, I've been died, I've been need, I've been died, I've been need, I've been died.
Hello guys, Rewind Mike here, and I left this review for you in the future, and I figured I would review Mega Man X. Now, Mega Man is a series that is really highly regarded as one of the best, things that Capcom has ever done. And the Blue Bomber really reminds me of a lot more than just a video game character. It, brings me back to all those days and nights where I would spend, every waking second playing these games and basically trying to beat them. Now, I played a lot of other games on Nintendo, obviously, like Batman, I played Star Tropics, I played Battletoads, Mario 3, and the list goes on. But, Mega Man 3 was one of the first games I can remember being excited for, and I played it all day and all night when I got it, man, let me tell you. Now, the levels were really hard, the bosses were really hard, but when you beat them, they gave you a real sense of accomplishment that some of the other games didn't really do for you. And getting those Robot Masters powers was really addicting to say the least. But anyway, flash forward to 1993, and in an attempt to make Mega Man a game for the kids who are growing up with the series, basically make a more adult game for them, there was the announcement of Mega Man X on the Super Nintendo. Now, we all know the Super Nintendo is a much more powerful system and has a lot more going on with it, color-wise, sound-wise, a lot more buttons on the controller, and basically allowing games to give you a better variety of things to do. So with everything that we've already done in the Mega Man series, what else could they throw at us? Because we've already had so many abilities, we've already fought so many Robot Masters, and we've already ran through so many stages, so what other ideas could they really have for us? And that was kind of like the killing part of the anticipation, was waiting to see what else could be done with Mega Man X that hasn't already been done. But anyway, before I give away too much about the game, let's jump into the story and see what it's all about. It starts right when you turn the game on. It comes to a booting screen. We find out this is a desktop of one Dr. Kane, and a diagnostics test is being run on Mega Man X. Once the test just gets going, a warning message pops up. In short, the message reads that X is an all-new prototype that is undergoing testing in the chamber he was found in. If X was released before the testing finished, there was a chance he would do more damage than good. It is able to think, feel, and act on its own free will, pretty much like a human would, but an android instead. This message was signed T. Light. Rest in peace, Dr. Light. Upon waking up X, Dr. Kane studies him and before long creates his first Reploid based off of X's design. A few of these go rogue and are dubbed Mavericks. In an attempt to combat these Mavericks, Doc Kane puts together a task force called Maverick Hunters. To lead this group, a new Reploid, Sigma, is created, and he's supposed to be immune to going Maverick. With these Reploids having free will, he should have known that anything can happen, and it does. The Maverick Hunters all go rogue, with Sigma acting as their leader. The only two heroes left to hunt them down are X and a Reploid named Zero. On mission, reporting to a Maverick attack, X runs across Vile, which will be Mega Man's rival and an always turning point in the story. After a very brief battle, Vile hands your ass to you on a silver platter. There is nothing X can do about this. You get captured by Vile, and right as he is about to destroy you, he gets blasted from a charge shot. After taking serious damage, Vile flees. It's in these moments we realize we aren't playing the same game. It was a little more grown up and sort of dark. Vile is crushing Mega Man and is just talking trash to him. A really different tone from the other games. They were sort of lacking in the whole feels department, so to speak. I mean, Mega Man is down on his knee and just almost got crushed. He beats himself down for not being able to take Vile on in combat and kind of makes you feel for him a little bit. On the other hand, Zero, he's a complete badass. He comes out of nowhere and blasts the Ride Armor's arm right off. He gives Mega Man some real good words of encouragement in hopes that he can pick himself back up, telling him that he can and may be as powerful as him if X uses all the abilities Dr. Light left for him. Zero then leaves to scout the area around Sigma's fortress, while you go to take down all Sigma's Mavericks. So, Mega Man X is a big overhaul to the Blue Bomber series and does things a little differently. The one thing that they couldn't seem to change though was the linear aspect of how the game is played. There's still a certain path that you want to take, the certain bosses you want to defeat in a certain order so that, it's easier to defeat all the other bosses with certain powers, and there's a certain order that you want to get all the power-ups in Mega Man X, but I didn't always know that path, and it was finding out that path and figuring out the best way to do it that made the game fun for so many years, and still continues to make it fun years after it came out. Each of these Maverick stages have a heart container on them, giving you more health, and 4 of those stages have sub-tanks on them. These sub-tanks allow you to store health away for another time. There is one trick though, you have to fill them. Now, the only way to do that is to have full health, then collect a piece of health. Now, I always thought this was a nice little function, and it caused anyone playing the game to tighten up their controls and learn the paths and enemies' patterns. In old school Mega Man fashion, you select each Maverick you want to take down. There's a total of 8 in all. Upon finishing certain stages before others, it actually has an effect on other areas in the game. So beating Chill Penguin will have an effect on Flame Mammoth stage, thus making it possible to get a heart upgrade that would have taken a ton of damage to try and even collect. There will be ice all over his stage instead of lava. And this is just one other factor into finding the perfect path in order to beat the game and collect everything in Mega Man X efficiently. If you know kind of where to start the game, you can progress rather smoothly with a decent difficulty curve. The first thing I like to do is get the dash boots. Once you do that, it makes exploring the game and even moving past enemies a lot more fun and easy. I mean, some of these items are hidden in spots you wouldn't even think to look, so exploring is a big thing when it comes to this game if you want to 100% it honestly. The enemies on each stage match the location they are from, making the areas have more immersion and allow you to feel like you were actually there. It also gave the game a more authentic feel, like they cared about the game that they were making. You have turtles and fish in the water, you have snow rabbits in the snow, and machine guns on the towering fortress that you have to climb. So every location is different and the challenges that were thrown at you were unique to that area. Now mix all this in with platforming and obstacles to avoid, and we've got some pretty high stakes gameplay. Much like the OG Mega Man games that were all played the same, you start the game up, you pick some stages, you do a lot of platforming, you beat the robot masters. It's pretty much the same formula beat over and over again. You know what though? If it's not broke, you don't fix it. This one controls just as tight as those games, using the same gameplay elements and platforming skills you've already learned, but a little bit tougher this time. There is the normal running, jumping, and using the charge shot, which is iconic to the series after its addition in Mega Man 4. Now that the game is on a more beefy system, they were able to add a few things into the game that really separate the two series from each other. It's now possible to slide down walls slowly, but also wall jumping and climbing is made possible. As I said though, there are power-ups to collect throughout the game, further expanding what you can do. The most important one is the slide. Without it, you really couldn't beat the game. One of the more useless but still important upgrades is the helmet. It allows you to break blocks with your head, but also with your feet? I never understood that. However it worked, I don't know. But this is still needed in a few key parts to collect another capsule, but also to collect a few of the hearts and a sub-tank. Then we have the armor upgrade and the arm cannon upgrade. The armor makes it so you take less damage during battles, while the arm cannon lets you charge your shot to a 3rd level, plus gives each of the other Mavericks' abilities a secondary charge shot. Okay, so you beat all the Mavericks, found all the upgrades, and you're now ready to take on the Sigma stages. But before we do that, it's time to get to the final and super secret hidden final capsule! The only way to get it is to kill yourself. A bunch of times, actually. You go to Armored Armadillo stage. You kill this bat a bunch of times, since he is more prone to giving you 1-ups, and he is actually put there purposely for this reason. You get all 9 lives that you can stack up. You proceed to the end of the stage, you collect this energy, and you kill yourself. You kill yourself, you kill yourself, you kill yourself. Each time collecting that piece of energy. Then hey, it just appears there. We walk up into it and Dr. Light informs us that he has a special present. We pop into the capsule and when X pops out, he does this little motion and he throws the Hadouken! And it's the cutest thing in the world, the way he says Hadouken. It's really adorable and it's not threatening at all, so it's kinda honestly funny. Really though, jokes aside, this is the most powerful weapon you can collect in the game, Mega Man. It one-shots everything with a simple motion of a down to right then you press shoot, just like in Street Fighter. Okay, now it's time to take on the Sigma stages, for real. You teleport to the outside area and Zero informs you that it's time to take the Big Sig down. Once inside you split up and Zero, again, goes ahead to keep the main forces busy while X sneaks into the back. Battling past the enemy, ascending the fortress, working your way up to the inside. Then out of nowhere, X is greeted by Vile, and Zero swoops in to interject, telling you he's gonna whoop that ass. Following them as they run off, you can hear them fighting and blasting away at each other. Then silence. Upon entering the room, you notice Zero had been captured by Vile. Standing victorious, Vile threatens to finish off Zero if X doesn't do as he says. He continues on to say that your ancient weapons are no match for his ride armor. After a short fight, you are again beaten by Vile and his ride armor. After capturing you, he kindly picks you up and moves you to the backside of the room before walking away. Zero then jumps out of the trap and lunges onto the back of Vile's suit and charges up his blaster. He sacrifices himself in an attempt to take him out and gets thrown away by the blast. But it was all in vain. Vile still stands, but on his own 2 feet this time. Brushing off the blast, he stands determined, but inside those little robot eyes, you can see Mega is more determined. He breaks free from captivity. He uses the energy to get his health back. There's one final fight between you two, mano a mano. Vile gets a few good licks on you, but in the end, you wind up toying with him before finishing him off. Walking up to Zero after taking everything in, and once everything is said and done, he tells you he took too much damage, and his auto repair can't fix it all. While Zero's power fades, he tells you maybe it's your destiny to destroy Sigma, and then Zero fades away. Now, like I said earlier, this game had more mature events unfold and managed to capture all the feelings that they wanted to. The death of Zero is the death of your childhood. You and Mega Man were both, well, men now. The next couple of stages are trials that are set up in between the original 8 bosses, with unique bosses at the end of each of these Sigma levels. The stages themselves are really easy. Aside from how easy the stages are, the unique bosses can be a friggin' pain in the neck. By the time you get to them, your health is depleted, your energy for your secondary shots is exhausted, and most of the time you die. A lot. Then have to go all the way back to the start after losing all your lives. Now, I feel that making the bosses exceptionally hard was just a really cheap way to make the end of the stages feel longer. It uses impossible bosses that do crazy damage and have no real predictable patterns. Time for the fight with Sigma, but he still doesn't think you're worthy of fighting him, so he first sends his dog after you. You kill it. Then Sigma comes back down and congratulates you on destroying his dog, and understands why Zero thought you'd be able to win. Then he charges at you. You kill him. Final form time, baby. Sigma is now a giant robot that takes up the whole room. He has two claws floating around the screen, spewing bolts of electricity, while he proceeds to blow flames at you and shoot giant orbs out of his mouth. The only way to beat this form is the rolling shot you get from Armored Armadillo. This final form, like the rest of the final fight, is pretty lackluster, and again, underwhelming. As long as you have the energy tanks full, you can beat this form with no problem. So, as you saw, the final boss of the game is a little bit of a joke. Does it ruin it? Not really, because by that point in the game, you're already pretty geared up if you've done, the 100% run. So it should be easy for you, because you took all that extra time to go through and collect every single item in the game, and you took the time to learn that path, and you took the time to get those mechanics down and learn your controls. And that's pretty much what the Mega Man games are all about. That's what games are all about, period. Besides the whole having fun thing. But anyway, I'm going off on a rant like I did in the last video that I just made before I made this one to end the video with. So anyway, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this one, and I'm Rewind Mike, and thanks a lot for watching.